Okay, in today's video, I'm gonna teach you blogging tips that are gonna help you stand out from the crowd. I'm gonna teach you blogging tips that are gonna help you stick with your writing career and turn it into an actual success. You are going to hear blogging tips that you've probably never heard anywhere else or said in the way that I say them. And before I dive into these blogging tips, if you don't know me, I wanna give you a little bit of background on why I am uniquely qualified to give you blogging tips as opposed to many other people that you see on the platform. I have earned a multiple six-figure career directly from blogging. That means no selling products, no coaching. I make money, six figures, literally from my hands, and I have the receipts to prove it. I'm one of the top writers on the website medium.com, which I will tell you a little bit about in a second. But I have been the top earning writer for 6 to 7 out of the past 12 months throughout the entire year. I am in the top 0.00001% when it comes to income, when it comes to consistency, and when it comes to all the metrics that come with being a successful blogger. So sit back, relax, and let me teach you how to become a blogging superstar. Okay, the first thing, the number one tip that every single blogger, the number one tip that you need to know as an aspiring blogger is very simple. Do not, under any circumstances, treat your blog like a personal journal. This is the number one mistake that I see writers make. They treat their blog like a personal journal and they basically vomit out their thoughts and expect that people are going to come read them for no reason whatsoever. And I say this in almost harsh terms because I want to be very clear with you about the fact that is not going to work. It's derived from this build it and they will come mentality where you think that just because you wrote something, it means that people should read it. It comes from this self-centeredness that you think that your life is so interesting that people will just read the random musings of whatever is on your mind for no reason. And it's a particular plague disease that many aspiring writers suffer from. And you need to get out of this right away if you want to be successful. Some of the ways you can get out of this are simple things like changing the ratio between the word I and the word you when it comes to your blogging. If you are using the word I too much, it tells me that you are not focused on the reader. Now, there are people who can tell very compelling narratives about their life, very compelling stories, people who write memoirs, people who write personal essays, things like that. But they have the skill of knowing how to do that and relating to an audience at the same time. Even if you are writing a story about yourself, take a book like Eat, Pray, Love. It's a memoir written by Elizabeth Gilbert. She gets divorced, she goes on this grand adventure where she travels across the world and does all these amazing things, right? But the book isn't about Elizabeth Gilbert. The book is about every person who feels trapped in a domestic situation and wants to go on a grand adventure. It's relatable. You know, talking about your random musings of your life, that's not relatable. But if you can do it in a way where you're connecting what's going on in your life with other people, then it'll be successful. I'll have some links below that'll talk about some basic blogging techniques that'll go into a lot more depth of things like how to be persuasive, how to write for an audience, and how to avoid this trap of writing solely about yourself. But this is the number one thing. If you already have a blog up, I'm 99% sure that if I went to your blog, it would just be random stories about your life, random stories about what you eat, what trips you've been on, your relationships, your past, your whole journal. You treat it like a diary, and you wonder why no one is reading your stuff. That's why. You have to learn how to relate your stuff to other people, and if you're able to do that, you'll instantly jump to the top 10% of writers because the vast majority of aspiring bloggers don't do it ever at all, and that's why they fail. The next blogging tip you need to be successful is you need to go where the audience is. You need to go where people actually are. So I will link to the video that I just created for the channel, which talks about a website called medium.com. Now, while I do suggest that you have your own blog, and I'll have a link below that shows you how to start your own blog in 10 minutes for as little as $3. You'll check that out below. You have your blog, that'll be your home base, but you need to find other places around the internet to get traffic that you can send out to your blog. No one's gonna find your blog for no reason just because Joe Schmo started a blog. you need to find places that already have established sources of traffic that you can siphon off into your own blog. So Medium is one of the greatest places to do that. I've built most of my entire writing career on Medium. I have built it up to an audience of millions of readers per year, but I didn't generate the entire Medium ecosystem on my own. Medium has a ton of different writers. It's one of the highly trafficked websites in the entire world. So I went where traffic was, and I put myself in front of people who were interested in reading blog content. And then I got popular on that platform, and I've been able to siphon off just enough of that traffic to be able to build a career, to build an audience, and to have an established catalog. So Medium is by far the number one place I would suggest aspiring bloggers go if they want to build an audience. And I would watch my videos specifically on how to be successful on Medium, because it has some some exclusive tips in there, tips that I already elaborated on that I'm not going to do here. But go there and check that out. Other places that you can go. Writing guest posts. This is a technique that I used in the beginning of my writing career. It's very simple. You find blogs in your niche and you reach out and you pitch the owners of these blogs to post articles on their website. Now here's the thing. I know you've probably heard this tip before, but you need to learn how to do it properly. I get pitches for guest posts onto my blog all the time, and most of them are really, really bad. And it doesn't really take that much to make your pitch good. So let's talk about how to make a successful guest post pitch. A, show that you've actually read the content on the blog. Show that you've actually read the content. You don't know how many pitches I get where they say, hey, hi, website owner. Like, really? Hi, website owner. I think you might be interested in getting a guest post from me. Like, what? No. Why would I be interested in that? Someone who did successfully land a guest post on my site said, hey, Ayo, I really love your content. Like, wow, they use my actual name. B, I read this article on such and such topic. It really spoke to me and it helped me implement this in my life. Oh, okay, cool. So they've actually read my content. And then they go another step and they show me samples of their writing. So you take samples of your writing and you share them with those pitches. So when you get a little bit better and your writing's good enough, you can share links to the stuff you've already created and prove that you're good enough to be on that blog. And you show that you're interested, show that you've taken time, and then you also come up with potential ideas. Don't just say, hey, I'd like to write a guest post for your website. No, give them ideas for the post that you want to write. Give them headlines. Give them headlines and actual or even small outlines of what you plan on writing so they know what to expect. So those are some two basic things that you can use to siphon traffic and get it back to your blog. And for aspiring bloggers, beginning bloggers, those are the things that I would stick with first. Next, write down 10 ideas per day with new headlines for your blog post. Headlines are crucial to attracting people and getting them to click. And here's a philosophy that I've come up with in terms of headlines. A lot of people hate on clickbait headlines, but if you feel that your content, that your blogs have value, then you should be doing everything in your power to get people to click on them. A comment that I get quite a bit is they say, hey, I thought your article was going to kind of be this fluffy clickbaity piece, but once I clicked, I read through it and it was actually really good. See? Even if they expected it to be clickbaity and not that good, they still click because writing good headlines, they just create certain psychological triggers that just cause people, that kind of gives them that urge to click. So again, I'll have some links on things like writing headlines, in-depth persuasion tactics that you can check out below, but learn how to write headlines. Learn how to write the two most basic headlines in the blogosphere. A, you can always do well with writing how-to headlines. How to become a successful blogger, how to get in shape, how to fix your relationships, how to manage your finances. It's very easy, pragmatic, right? How to do something even if you're not something else. So how to become a blogger even if you don't have technical skills. How to get in shape even if you're big boned. So there's all sorts of little how-to formulas that you can use. I'll even maybe list some of my favorites down below in the description as well. And the other one you want to focus on is writing listicles. Yes, Listicles. List posts to this day are scientifically proven to be the most popular form of post that you can write on your blog. The way that I use list posts is I try to make them really in depth. I don't like to write short clickbaity list posts, but I really do use lists and numbers because they're just very simple strategies and frameworks that people are used to clicking on. And again, you want to use headlines to get people in and then surprise and delight them with the value of your content. And then you want to practice writing 10 ideas per day, new blog post ideas every single day. I learned this technique from James Altucher, and James, he talks about this idea of generating and building your idea muscle. So the more you come up with ideas, the better you are at coming up with ideas. And the less you come up with ideas, just like a muscle, your idea muscle will atrophy and you will lose the ability to come up with new ideas. So if you want to create momentum, start practicing writing headlines, 10 a day. You can get this done in 10 minutes per day. It's very simple. I've been doing this every day for the past 5 years, and it's one of the keys to my success. And one of the things that gets in the way, I've had this with students in the past, is they don't want to write bad ideas. People don't like coming up with ideas that suck. But the whole point of coming up with the ideas is to write 9 of them so that one is good. Is to write 8 shitty ones so that 2 are good. So if you write 10 ideas every day, that's 3,650 ideas for content. Some of those are going to be good. Even if 1% of those are good, that's 36 pieces of content with stellar headlines that'll have a high likelihood to take off. So practice writing headlines and really get in the habit of it, and all of a sudden, it'll make writing easier because the headline is an amazing frame for the rest of your article. If you have a really good headline, you know what you're going to say, then it makes it a lot easier to say it. So practice headlines, 10 ideas per day, get started immediately. Okay, last one I'll give you. Use this simple framework to create... Alright, last one I'll give you. Use this simple framework to be able to create content faster and to be able to create it in a way where you're not having to do so much editing, where you're not staring at the blank page, where it's not super duper difficult. And this is a simple process called mind mapping and outlining. So mind mapping is pretty simple. Brainstorm out techniques. Draw a circle in the middle of a piece of paper, have your main idea there, draw little bubbles, draw sub ideas there, and draw little bubbles off of each bubble and have sub points for each sub idea. And then you can create the basic framework for a blog post, for an essay. It's like a simple essay structure has an intro, it has a conclusion, it has 3 main points, and then maybe 3 sub points underneath each point, and then you create that outline, you write out an outline and a document, and then boom, you have the whole framework for the article ready to go. And oftentimes, when I create my mind map and my outline, I don't even refer to them that much when I actually start writing. It's just the fact that I went through the process of gathering my ideas and articulating what I wanted to say first, that it made it a lot easier when I sat down to just know what I wanted to talk about. See, a lot of people, maybe you, struggle and you get writer's block because you don't do enough preparation. And you really don't need to do a ton of preparation other than these simple things that I mentioned. Generating ideas, coming up with headlines, and then after that, using a simple process of mind mapping and outline to get your words out on the page. And then when you go through the editing phase, I use a simple 3-pass edit. So the first edit I'll go through and I'll basically remove everything that just seems out of place, structure things, move them around until they look right. B, I'll come through the second time and I will remove every other sentence that doesn't fit, times where I repeat myself, little sentences and phrases that feel out of place, and my goal there is to remove probably about 25% of the content. And then at the end, I just do a fine-tooth comb, make sure that everything spelled properly. I use Grammarly for editing my work, which you can find a link to that below. Grammarly is an amazing tool. And then I just hit the publish button and I move on to the next. I don't do a ton. I don't overthink. I just get out there and I start blogging. If you were to use everything I just combined, from getting on Medium, huge tip, watch the Medium video, coming up with ideas, putting together the simple structure and framework that I taught you, and most importantly, getting out of your head and removing this build it and they will come mentality where you think people are just supposed to want to read your random thoughts. If you combine just those things and worked on them for the next 90 days, you will see leaps and bounds in the growth of your writing career, and you will start to get the traction that you've been looking for such a long time. All right, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please hit the little notification bell so that you can get brand new videos when they come out. Please leave a comment, share your 2 cents. Also, you'll find a bunch of amazing links and resources in the description below that are going to help you become successful. There is a blogging startup guide that'll show you how to create your first WordPress blog, and there will be a link that'll show you how to start your first blog for 10 minutes, in 10 minutes for as little as $3. There will be links to my Medium course. This is a comprehensive online course that teaches you how to make a living blogging using the website medium.com. All sorts of resources at the bottom. Check them out. Continue watching videos on the channel as they come out. Thank you so much. I will see you on the next video.